like to go around the room and have each person speak as to what he or she thinks. Let's start with Sue Casey.
Well, you certainly have a good network of support, and you've got the medical alert. I think with this schedule, I think that we're covering, you know, the only reason I'm not on here is because my husband has emphysema, and there are so many people in here, I probably shouldn't even be in here now, but I don't want to take the risk of him getting sick. So it seems to me that with this coverage, you know, your addresses are being concerned, or your concerns are being addressed. It would be so hard for her to acclimate to a new place to live, you know, because she was here before she lost her sight, so she knows where everything is. So that would be major. I think that's all I have to say.
Who's next?
Well, I'm Sandy. I've already talked a lot, but I would just say that I think most blind people do live alone. Most adult blind people probably do live alone, you know, unless they're married with families. I had, as a teacher, I had students, 2 little boys, both parents were blind, and they walked their sons to school every day, you know, about 5 blocks.
Were they 92?
Yeah, they weren't 92. They were young. They were young, and they had been blind all their lives. But they did, you know, it was something to see them with a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. The 3-year-old, you know, was wearing one of those harnesses because he was a lively guy. Anyway, but so I think that
Maddie's next?
no, Pat's next.
Oh, okay, Pat.
Well, I've been concerned for a very long time about the amount of time that Glendora, up to now, I acknowledge that now she has, through her great efforts, rounded up a lot of people to help her out. Before that, I was very concerned. And because I was concerned, I did some investigation. One of the places was the Northeast Association for the Blind. Glendora is not interested at this time in pursuing anything like that. It seems to me she's happy with her friends and, you know, the people from the church that are coming. And to me, volunteers are wonderful as long as their lives don't change and they can no longer volunteer. That is my concern. And it has happened several times with Glendora. So there are other options if Glendora ever chooses to pursue them. So that's all I have to say.
What are the other options?
Well,
the other options are Center for Independent Living could come in and tell her how she could get help should she need, you know, an aide or someone. The Northeast Center for the Blind could come in and they do an adaptive living programs to teach ways of, for instance, if she had to move, how to navigate in a new environment. Things like that. So that's all. I don't have any more to say.
Next.
Joyce, do you want to say anything?
Yes, I'm an avid promoter of aging in place. I don't know if everybody's heard about it, but I started one for Northern Columbia County, and we have some from Nassau in our group. And the whole idea is to help people stay in their own home, and we have volunteers for free. One gal that I know happens to have money, and she got a free gardener. So anything that you can't do, I say we, our group, but they're all over the world, we would send somebody in to help out. There is a small fee to be a member, $75 for this one. But the main idea is to be able to stay in your own home.
And what's the name of the organization, Joyce?
It's called NNCC, neighbors of Northern Columbia County. Whether Rensselaer has one, I don't know that.
I imagine they must.
Well, not necessarily, it takes a group to start.
Is it $75 a month?
A
or-
year,
A
I'm
year.
sorry,
Okay.
yeah.
So the next key question for me, are they staying in their own home because we do aging in place with our business? Or are they staying in our multifamily rental property?
No, it's to be in your own home.
Home, houses, dwelling.
What is it you do?
We're builders.
Oh,
This is the landlord.
These are
and
Glendora's.
Her husband?
oh,
Yeah.
Landlord, yep.
So we're all advocates of aging in place as well with our business. But
right.
our concern here again is multifamily. We're dealing with a multifamily situation here. A 92-year-old woman that can't see. So let's just say, for instance, she's got life alert. Let's say she goes to bed when there's nobody here. Let's say Freddie upstairs starts a fire. Heaven forbid she can't get out. Where's everybody going to be then?
This building is multi-family.
Four families in here.
Right, I understand.
So it's not just Glendora's well-being. There's other families here that we're concerned
Right.
about. And even if people come in during the day and they take care of her during the day and she lays her head down at night, something should happen. Electrical fire. She can't see. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. She's got to get out. The alarms are going off and she doesn't make it. How are we going to feel at that point?
The next thing I was gonna say is, I do think she needs 24/7.
And that's why we're here.
That's
We
why
agree to that.
And-
20.
Do you think your organization provides anything like that? Or,
I don't know, we
You don't
have to.
Yeah.
Rensselaer has wonderful programs, the aging. You know, we kinda have to do a lot of research.
yeah. Well,
Other-
Pat did the research.
And
But
Dawn-
Glendora, do you hear what Joyce and Pat are saying, that these organizations would help you, but you have to meet them halfway and, you know, and agree to, I think the stumbling block for Glendora was one of the Association for the Blind wants her to undergo a vision test
Oh, they
to
do.
prove that she's blind.
Yeah,
And, I mean, that's kind of silly, and it costs however.
But the cost is covered.
The cost is covered.
What they really want is the $200 they're going
Well,
to charge.
Pat's saying the cost would be covered. You wouldn't have to pay that. Yeah.
Well, I like what you're saying, meet halfway. It comes a point in our lives where we can't always have exactly what we want. We have to compromise.
Well, Missy upstairs said that she would be glad to check in on Glendora when she comes home at work every night at 5 o'clock. And that's easy enough. The door could be unlocked. And Glendora, are you okay? Yes. And I think Jeff next door would check in on Glendora at 6 o'clock in the morning when he leaves and 4 o'clock in the afternoon when he comes home. And I think Tom would check in on Glendora at 11 o'clock in the morning when he leaves and 3 o'clock in the afternoon when he comes home.
That's good, Glendora. Otterbecks are concerned that at night, like the other tenants are all young people. It could be that there'd be a night they're not even at home. They're staying with family. They've gone somewhere else. They're not even in the building. And what if the smoke alarm went off or something, and you know, Jeff wasn't next door to help you get out or something. So I guess that's where people see the need for somebody here at night too.
Did you know about the fireman who was giving fire safety lessons, and he said to the children, what would you do if your clothes caught on fire? And the little girl says, I wouldn't put them on.
so
Then
you
your
wanna
skin
hear
will catch
from
on fire.
Maddie?
Maddie, your next.
Well, I mean, as a seeing person, I could also be caught unawares in a fire and not get out also. So I understand the reasoning behind that. The problem is, it's gonna be very difficult for her to get 24-hour care. The fact of the matter is, Glendora does not have health insurance. Does everybody know that?
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yes.
know that.
So that's a real obstacle.
She wouldn't, excuse me, she wouldn't need 24/7 if all these people volunteer in the daytime.
No, they're
It's the
saying,
evening
It would just be
that
the evening she'd have to pay for somebody,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
well, no, I,
You have volunteers during the
so,
day, it looks like,
so,
but it's the night.
what I'm saying is, I understand that, but as a seeing adult, I might not get out of a building that's on
But your
fire
percentages
also.
are higher to get out.
I guess, I mean, if you're overcome with smoke, whether you can see or not, you're overcome with smoke, so, but I see both sides, that's the problem. And
Who wants to speak next?
yeah, well, there you go.
I guess
I
I'm
was trying to
left.
formulate, but go ahead. Yes.
I think I'm in your position where I see both sides.
Yes.
You know, like there's Miss Glendora staying in a place that she's comfortable with, and there's the health of the entire building. You know, could be at risk. Her adjusting to a new place is, I don't know if that's well, it's necessary, but I don't know if you have like any single units that's like not multifamily that's
No, they're
available.
all multi. So
So
that's where you would go through the county or through the state, because there are programs, even for non-health insured people, that would help you with that, to find a dwelling or a place that you could stay. And I think that meeting halfway in the middle is why we're here. We're more than willing not to pursue if she has legitimate, solid, 24 care every day. Volunteers are okay, but the first volunteer that calls in sick, you know, volunteers come and go. I've volunteered, everybody volunteers, I get it. But the first time that happens and volunteers start dropping off and she doesn't have 24 care, then that breaks the chain, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a solid 24 care, round the clock, more than happy to keep her, okay? If we can't get 24 care, then we have to make arrangements or adjustments to what we need to do to protect her and the rest of the families.
Well, are you mainly concerned about a fire? Or
Could be anything.
Could be anything.
She could fall and hit her head on a pipe and nobody'd find her for a week and not hit her button. It could be
So,
at anything. It could be
not to be too morbid, but Glendora, those who know Glendora really well, know that she wants to die at home. She doesn't believe in medical care. She doesn't want medical care. She doesn't want to be taken to the hospital. So if she falls and hits her head on a pipe and dies, that is in alignment with her wishes.
Totally understand. And she had that note on her door on Valentine's Day last year, which scared another tenant, which called us on Valentine's Day, which then we called the fire department, and they came down to make sure she was okay, and she threw everybody out.
What note? That
The
she
Well,
DNR.
the
resuscitated?
The DNR.
She had a
The do
DNR
not
note on her door.
resuscitate.
That
So that
scared somebody?
it scared the tenant next door because they hadn't seen it before. So they assumed that maybe
They
she
were
was
afraid maybe she was gonna take her life.
take her life because of what was me, because they're a concerned
Alright.
tenant.
Right.
All
So they
right.
call us, we call the fire department, they come down, she gets excited, everybody gets yelled at.
I call that overreacting.
Well, I call it people looking out for you.
For some people, that was a disturbing note. You
Yeah.
know, do not resuscitate. It sounded like.
Because that's
something-
not something you need on, I mean, my father had a DNR on his refrigerator like you do, Glendora.
That's where
But
I
he didn't
told-
have it on his front door.
Right.
And that's what I told her, put it inside her unit.
Mhm.
I'm perfectly fine. I didn't want it posted out in the hall.
And what did Glendora do? Did she take it down?
Oh, yeah. Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Well, when you talk about the fire, about there being a fire in the building, you are aware too that she's not using any stoves or any kind of anything, even the light, the stove, the oven. She's not using any of those herself. So
Could be an
I know, I'm
electrical
just
fire.
saying. I didn't know
Could
if you
be
knew that or
anything. It
not.
could be the tenant upstairs.
Yes, of course.
It could be a piece of paper that falls in the heater. Anything. It could be a
Yes.
light too close to the camera. It could be anything, we're just saying. We understand she's not using items that burn, fire in general.
Gotcha.
But I don't use any fire.
Yes, but he's saying
Like
he's-
some other part of the building, not your
Right.
apartment,
Right.
a different apartment. If somebody else in the building had a fire, the concern is that you might have a hard time finding your way out. But that could be true, you know, of any of the
Right,
tenants,
that's right.
you know.
But they're not 92 and blind.
Well, the
I
bottom
mean, come on, we
line
have a
is,
disadvantage here.
yeah,
The sa-
The-
the
Yes,
safety is
Glendora
the-
definitely has a disability, and I think, as such,
She should be cared
She-
for properly.
she should be entitled to some help, but we don't know how exactly to go
Well,
about getting that. So maybe as
people can come in and explain, and Glendora has resisted having anybody come to talk to her. So there are possibilities to be explored. Nothing has to be decided,
So
but
Glenn,
people will talk to her to say what could be worked out.
so Glendora, would you be amenable to having the people from the disabilities group, the Association for the Blind, coming and doing an assessment of your living situation and giving you some advice on how to, as you did with Nancy Clements with the seniors group, and we got rid of things like the throw rugs and we got the chair for the bathroom and for the shower and right and you know, you made some adaptations to the apartment at that time, a couple years ago. Would you be amenable to doing that again with the group that specifically helps adapt a space for blind people?
How long do I have to decide?
2 seconds.
Okay.
No, you have, you.
No, my answer is yes, I would be amenable.
Okay.
All right,
Great.
Maddie
So-
and I met somebody Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
Rensselaer County, for free. They will come in and do that also.
Great.
But that doesn't address the 24/7 care.
No.
Well, they
But they
assess
might
them.
know who they could bring.
That's right.
They might have the connections with people
Right,
who do that
exactly.
work.
Well,
On
I
how to
had
fund it.
contacted a place for mom
Uh-huh.
before Amanda was here. You're shaking your head no?
Well, I know about a place for one.
Okay. Well, it's just an agency that actually,
Yeah, right,
you know,
pushes.
Did they
goes
give
for
you any
different-
leads?
Well, you know, I shared the information with Glendora. I can't remember now what the cost was, but
It was $25 an hour.
yeah.
And we answered an ad, this nurse wanting to live in, how much per diem?
Oh.
$250 to $300 a day.
Care is expensive. There's no two ways about it.
But she's fortunate, she's got the daytime care. It's
Yes,
just finding someone really just to come in and sleep right alongside of her, and then the next person comes in that morning. I mean, we're just really trying to get the coverage and make sure she's made it this far. She's an awesome lady. We want to see her continue, but we want to do it safely. I mean, honestly, we just want it safely.
Anybody else want to speak?
I'm not sure there's anything
Yeah,
else to say,
exactly.
really.
I think personally as a group you guys get together and collaborate on the resources that you can get for Glendora and then let us know, you know, what you've got and what you found and how we can do this and how it'll work.
So you're fine though if somebody else were living here with Glendora, you have no problem with that?
We would prefer that.
But we'd
Yeah.
like 24-hour care.
Right.
So if I swing down at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and Glendora says, no, Freddie can't make it today, my next shift guy's not coming for 3 hours, or I'm gonna be alone tonight,
Right.
that's the only advantage of paying a company is that you've got coverage. If somebody calls in sick, they'll send us up. Volunteers, we're into that. If I call in sick, who's gonna cover? Well, geez, Timmy's got a baseball game, I can't help tonight. Well, I gotta go to the bake sale. I get it all, volunteers.
Well, that could happen with your heart help, let me tell you.
It can, but generally if they're doing it as a job and they need to get, you know, compensated to feed their family, they'll come to work. I mean, that's why it's a job. That's how people feed their families and pay their bills, is by going to work every day.
Well, as a landlord, what would you do if we don't get this all together? I mean, we don't.
We would make arrangements,
Of what?
asking her to move.
What?
Asking
They
her to
evict
move.
her.
Are you allowed to do that? I'm a landlord and I cannot evict.
I believe we would chase it through the state of New York,
They would
through the safety of the other tenants in the building. I mean, I don't care about the building, it's insured, but if Timmy upstairs dies because of a incident that happens downstairs, who do you think Martin Harding and Mazzotti is gonna call? Because I know that she can't see and I let her stay. You think they're gonna call me?
But I feel like
You bet we're gonna
because
fall.
she has a disability, I feel like she's doubly protected,
Yes.
even more than the average tenant.
She
Like
could be
it's hard
protected.
to evict anybody, and then when you have a tenant with a disability, I feel like the law is much
And our
more
goal
in
is not
favor of
to
the
evict her,
tenant.
but it would be more like to place her in a senior living center that would be better off for her.
But this senior living center, I feel, is non-existent. We don't have that kind of health care in our culture.
No, we don't.
We don't. We're not living in Sweden. You know, we don't have
Well, I
national health. This is not Canada.
What about nursing homes? I mean,
Yeah,
But you have
they
to
all
pay for
cost
that.
money.
You have to sell your house and pay for your nursing
they
home.
usually take your social security. You sign
Yes,
over to
they,
them.
they will take your social security and that will cover maybe 1 week out of the month.
she'd go on
of your-
Medicaid,
of your
Medicare
nursing
or
home
something.
care.
Well, Deb, would you make me move?
Glendora, I'd rather move in with you than make you move.
Okay, I'll bring the bed over tomorrow.
You were the nicest person I know. You showed us the building when we bought. You have to understand, it's
It's nothing personal.
nothing
it's
to-
not.
yeah.
It's truly the safety of everyone and business in general.
I think we all feel it a little personal, but we know it's
No,
nothing personal.
I get it, but if
We
something
do.
happens and somebody should have a fatal accident here, we're the ones that are gonna get hung out to dry. And it can't happen for anybody in the whole building. Timmy, Johnny, Freddie, can't happen at midnight, it can't happen during the day, it can't happen with a fire extinguisher in your hand. It just can't happen. And the likelihood of it happening are increasing as age comes upon us, disabilities gain more on us. I had to do it with my mom, I get it.
I think Glendora said to me in the past that she'd be happy to have someone living here at night. She has had someone staying here and helping her at night in the past. That person was half Glendora's age and
Yeah, Gregory was here all the
died,
time.
right?
Yeah,
And
So,
that was fun.
Yeah, he did, he
He
did.
He was
died.
here all the time. They were filming in the yard.
Yeah.
We were fine. It was.
Right.
It doesn't.
But finding that person is the challenge. Where are we going to find someone who is
Homeless.
trustworthy, that you'd want to share your home with? You
Right.
don't want just anybody in your home. And Glendora would be happy to have that person. We just don't know where to find that person. So
You guys have your homework.
Are you on a timeline to get this resolved?
I'd like not to think so. I mean, but I'd like not to see it go 6 months, a year. I mean, that'd be kind of crazy. I mean, I'd like to think that we could, as reasonable adults, make some headway, make some calls, show some progress, figure something out, come up with a game plan, maybe meet again in a month or so and say, look, this is what we've got, this is who we've called, this is what's going on. You know, make a little headway on it and before the next situation arises.
So Glendora, you're willing to meet with the people from the Association for the Blind?
Yeah,
And Joyce, maybe you can ask your organization,
You've got the
the,
thing I gave you the other day,
What
the
thing?
card to call the woman.
Mhm.
You've got it.
In my car.
So do you want it?
well, just if they know about people who provide,
Oh, the people we
overnight
met,
care.
that we met the other day. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yep, I got that.
Do
Sorry.
you want me to call a place for mom and revisit that?
That's where Glendora would go live there.
No, no,
No,
no,
no,
no,
no,
It's
they-
for
they
in-home care.
Yes, I think so. Did you
Sure.
talk to them, Pat? You
I
talked to
have
them a
dealt
couple
with
years
them.
ago, didn't
I've
you?
dealt with them for my own family.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I have felt comfortable talking to them.
Is,
I had recently.
is there any state programs? Because that's probably where you're going to find it, is through the state, through
There
Medicaid.
are, there are, but it's a morass, so we need somebody knowledgeable how all these programs work to come in and explain and say, this is what's available, this is what's possible, this is what you might afford. This is whether you're eligible for Medicaid or not. I'm a total newbie to all of this, and all I can do is, make initial contacts, and I have a list of initial contacts.
Totally
So-
get that, and I think that
Well-
the state avenue is going to be the way to go because a place for mom is obviously a company, and they're going to want to be paid.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
The state would do the Medicaid, Medicare, whatever need be done. So I think it's going to be a state kind of a program that you're going to find that would be less financial of a burden to everybody.
well, Nancy Clement knows all of those things.
Sure she does. And you have to deal with Nancy Clement. No,
And
she's
she's,
a lovely lady, by the way.
I think I had talked to somebody that Glendora's not on Medicaid right now. She doesn't
Yeah,
have that.
no, that's what I was
So
gonna
that's another
suggest that.
thing she's
Yeah.
gotta sign up for, it's just filling out an application, and you don't have to pre-qualify or anything, right?
I don't
You
think
can
it's
call-
valid.
It's kind of ridiculous because they should actually be paying her for not using any medical
Exactly.
services for her whole life. But there's a fine for signing up late
Oh,
for
yeah, your
Medicare or
premium
Medicaid.
at her age would be sky high.
Well, she'd
Sky
have
high.
to, she'd have to
That's
make
for
up all the
Medicaid.
money that hasn't been paid all these years.
Right.
Since she first started
But
taking
that's
Social Security.
Medicare, not
So-
Medicaid.
Right,
Yeah,
but Medicaid
Medicaid.
is based on income.
But you pay a penalty for not having signed up earlier.
Medicare.
And that's ridiculous because all the money she saved,
that's
then they
a
should pay her,
wonderful point.
right?
Is that the donut hole? Is
Pardon?
that what that's called? That's not the
for
donut hole.
medicine.
Oh.
I don't know.
For I get them confused. For Medicaid, I think, I mean, you can go online and look at what the.
It's based on income.
Right.
We have looked.
Okay, so what's the income?
She makes more money than you have to be
So she
dirt
wouldn't-
poor
right,
to
right.
get it.
So she
Literally.
wouldn't qualify for
No, she
Medicaid?
would not.
Okay, so
I
that's
mean,
off
we
the
can
table.
revisit that, you know, this was about 3 or 4
So then
years
she would be
ago.
on Medicare.
But
Which she
but
has.
right now,
But she,
when
But
we
has
looked
to
at
pay
it 5
premium?
years ago, she would have had to pay probably $16,000 or $17,000 at that time. It's probably a third more now.
And that's a premium or
No,
that's a
to make up,
penalty?
that's a penalty to make up for all the years that she has not
That she
paid
didn't
into
pay
it. That's
into
right.
it.
Right.
Doesn't that come off your social security? Don't
What?
they deduct that automatically
No.
before your
Uh,
social
I
security?
think they
You have to agree to
do.
it. You have to agree to it.
You have to agree to it.
You ought to look at it.
Or I should
statement. She
say,
might
you
have been
can
contributing.
disagree. You can disagree to it.
Okay.
Does
Well,
she
I-
have a financial planner or somebody that helps her with her finances?
No.
Any of you guys help her with any of that?
No, she does her own finances. She's, you know, Glendora doesn't, you know, is of sound mind. She doesn't need help with, she has somebody writing down the numbers for her. She has a friend in Pittsfield writing down the numbers, but she dictates the information.
Right.
Do you want to say anything about that, Glendora?
Yes, I keep a track of all the money that's spent each day, and I call Wayne and I tell him, and then at the end of the month, he categorizes them into the classes, and he adds up how much was spent for each class for the month, and then he gives it to me at the end of the year, and then he gives it to me for all of our lifetime since 1937.
Glendora has records of her finances back to 1937.
she even
She's-
knows how much taxes,
she's
she like
very-
sales tax.
She has receipts for everything, she keeps track of everything. So I'd be reluctant, I wouldn't be able to,
So if
Manage her
Medicare, if
finances.
Medicare and Medicaid are off the table, then can the state or any government help at
Well,
all?
that's where our hope.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're off the table, but just that you might have to make a case for having someone sign up belatedly.
Right.
Without
There
paying
may
a
be-
penalty.
If she could be, there may be a new avenue if she is considered disabled also. That, at the time that we looked at it last time, she was not disabled. And she is now considered disabled because she's blind. So there may be a different avenue concerning either one of those. I could call and find out. I'll make some calls tomorrow.
Oh, well, Social Security told me not to pay Medicare Part B. No, Part A. No, Part A you pay for anyway. They told me not to take,
They told you not to?
they said that I could have that option.
Ah,
Yeah, you don't have to pay for B.
no.
But if you don't pay for B from the time
It
you're
adds up.
65, then by the time you're 67, your monthly premium and subsequent years gets higher and
Right.
higher and higher.
Right. All right, well, we'll investigate the disability angle to it also.
And if you could get a caseworker or somebody to come visit, you guys
Right.
could circle the wagons again and all chat together as a team, kind of pin them in the corner
Yeah.
and hone out the things that are possible and non-possible. And you know, I don't want to mention the W word, but I don't know how far finance goes for that.